Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fausto Pugliese, president and founder of CyberTrain University. I'd like to thank everybody for making it here, and hopefully everyone has and is going to have a positive and profitable 2015. Hopefully 2014 was a good turnout for you. I know it was for a lot of us day traders out there, but today's topic we're going to talk about is the power of understanding ECNs, market makers, and we're going to talk about level 2 quotes. Okay. Now, you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes into trading, you have to know how to play the game. And that's what we're here. We're here to learn what's going on, how to trade this market, and most importantly, to know if this is for you or not. Because understand something, trading is not for everybody. Okay. And you need to know how to play the game first, and then see if this is something that you like, which honestly I think every single one of you should be trading the market and doing this, because this is one of the greatest jobs in the world, and I'm going to prove it to you, because you're going to realize trading is not that hard. The hardest part about trading is taking the time to take a step back, learn how to do it right, find the right mentor to do it, understanding how to play the game, and the hardest thing to teach, most importantly, is the discipline part. But playing the game of trading, you're going to see why 70% of the people fail, not because of lack of discipline, not because of a lack of effort, but a lack of not knowing how to play that game. So let me change the slide here, ladies and gentlemen, and let's get started. Let me just move a couple of things around here. Now, before we get started, just want to make sure, I always like to make sure, can everybody see all my can everyone see my drawings, just to make sure that everybody can see this, everybody? Just make sure you can basically see all the writing and everything on see my screen. Good. Good. Everybody can see my good-looking hair? All right, good. All right. So as long as everybody can see that, then we're fine with the slideshow presentation. All right, so let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. A couple things we're going to be learning. I look better, Mike? Well, thanks a lot. All right, so things we're going to be learning, ladies and gentlemen. Well, first of all, we're going to talk about high-frequency trades. We're going to talk about brokerage firms will not offer you things. They don't want to tell you what you need. We're going to talk about level 2, level 3, total view. We're going to talk about how to get the right data of trading and much, much more. But before we do that and start learning how to trade, let me just talk a little bit about CyberTrain University. I want you guys to understand what we do here and why you need to listen, because what I'm about to teach you, ladies and gentlemen, is the key of being a successful trader. Now, understand something. I am a very successful trader, and the reason why I was very successful is because I learned from successful traders. I live here in New York, the financial capital of the world. I've been doing this for over 20 years. Now, I want to just not bore you with a story, but let me just, everybody has a story, you know, and, you know, how we fell into this industry or any business. And I'm going to tell you a really funny story, and if anyone here had read my book, you probably will, you're probably going to, and if you want to read my book, I'll tell you at the end of the presentation about it. But is there music? I don't think there's any music. Is anybody here other than me speaking? Anybody hear anything in the background? Shouldn't be hearing anything in the background. All right. It must be somebody. Okay, no problems. It's definitely on your end. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, a little story about how I got into this business. All right. I was 22 years old. I started as a stockbroker. I hated it. I hated it. I realized I was just a glorified salesman. All right. And what ended up happening, being a stockbroker, one thing I did learn, the most prestigious and best job in the world was being a trader. And back then I was working with my sister, and my sister and I actually quit our jobs, and we went out there and started learning how to trade. Well, what ended up happening, my sister took a job as a prop trader, and I went out there and I opened up my own E-Trade account and started trading on my own. And over the course of a couple of months, you know, I would sit down with her at the dinner table in front of my parents, and she would tell me about these great stocks she traded, U.S. Robotics, and on seeing Goldman Sachs buying and selling it on Instinet, and talking about level 2 quotes. And I'm sitting there like, you know, pretending I know what she's talking about. Meanwhile, she's telling me and showing me her reports how much money she's making. Meanwhile, I'm losing miserably. And let me tell you, it's not fun when you have a brother and sister when one's making more money than the other, okay? Well, at the end of the day, I raised up the white flag. And I says, okay, Tina, what are you doing? What are you doing? What is this level 2 stuff? What's this Instanet stuff? What is this, the high-frequency trades? What are you talking about? So I took a ride into the city with her. She introduced me into her trading room and showed me her mentors and everybody. And let me tell you, what I learned on the first day watching what they were doing, I should have never, ever, ever made my first trade. I deserved every single loss that came to me. But you know what? It was like a bunch of bricks coming off my chest. I finally realized and found a place of a job that I loved dearly and now realized how to do it right. And that is hopefully what I'm about to prove to you guys all today. Because a lot of you are trading totally wrong. And I'm going to show you guys how to trade totally right. Now, if you notice from those 2 pictures up there, Steve Forbes actually at that time wrote a big article about a bunch of kids tormenting Wall Street. I was one of those kids. And unfortunately, I was able to ring the closing bell with Steve Forbes about, back in August. And for some of you probably didn't know this, I didn't know this, but not only was my first time ringing the closing bell, as also was Steve Forbes' first time ringing the closing bell. But we had a great talk about day trading and everything like that, and he was quite excited about it. I thought it was great that what I did and what CyberTrain University does, because he believes in education more than anything, just like the Money Show does, and they say, listen, keep doing what you're doing, and that's why I'm excited to be all of you guys to be here to listen in, because hopefully this is going to change your life for the better. Over the course of the years, I became a 12-time champion all over the world. I also beating every school I competed against. I've also wrote the new day trading book just came out, How to Beat Market Makers in Their Own Game. Was just published by Wiley, the first day trading book in 20 years. And also we were ranked #1 school 6 years in a row by Equities Magazine. It's a couple of accomplishments that I want to share with you guys to realize the reason, the why, and where I got here is because what I'm about to show you right now. Now, we need to learn before we could earn. I want that to stick out in your head. All right? The reason why you're here right now is because you want to learn how to trade. Who here doesn't love not to trade? Who here needs to trade? Who here needs to have supplemental income? Who here needs and knows that Social Security just ain't paying enough or is sick and tired of paying commissions to some mutual fund which are doing the same damn thing that you're doing? And you could do it better because remember, no one is going to care about your money better than you. Okay, remember what I'm telling you. I live here in New York. Maybe some of you ever heard of the Hamptons. Okay, one of the most exclusive, prestigious summer vacations in the country. And being not too far, living from there, and being a kid, you hear all about these hedge fund guys, mutual fund guys renting homes for 3 months, paying $1 million for 3 months. Just to rent a home for the summer. You're like, where do these people get this money from? Okay, well, where they're getting it from is trading your money. Well, now it's time to take back your money and trade it on your own. And how do we do that? We're going to start learning how to do it right. Because the one big problem I want you to be aware of, 70% of traders fail in trading because they don't know how to play the game. And that is what we're going to basically cover right now. So, what is the big #1 mistake people make? The #1 biggest failure of trading is opening up a brokerage account. Okay? Now, brokerage firms will kill me to saying that, but it is true. And the reason why it's true is because most people open up brokerage accounts with the wrong company. Every single one of you are a case-by-case basis. Some of you guys trade futures. Some of you trade options. Some of you trade stocks, options, and Forex. And depending on if you are more diversified in your portfolio, some brokerage firms could give you better tools than others. And that's why here at CyberTrain University, every one of you are going to be given an education advisor. And listen, doesn't cost you anything. It's free. Listen, we don't work for the brokerage firms. We work for you. And being a student at CyberTrain University, our education advisors will be able to tell you, okay, well, you have an account with Thinkorswim, great company. Hey, you know what? This is the guy you need to talk to over there. Okay? We have very good connections with a lot of the brokerage firms, if it's TradeStation, if it's Thinkorswim, if it's TD Ameritrade, if it's Schwab, if it's any of these companies, Option Monster, you know, anybody you need to know, these brokerage firms want you to get educated. But the thing is, they can't train you. And that's why they send you to us. But the big problem is you got to be careful which brokerage firm you open up with. Now, let me explain to you the big difference between these brokerage firms. Now, remember, this is the biggest failure rate of the industry. Brokerage firms, what they do, specifically online brokers are in the business to trade against you. How do you guys like to hear that? How do you like to hear that there's brokerage firms out there that are trading against you? They're basically acting as a casino. You see, when you do a trade and you place an order out there, okay, basically they are going to trade and see, okay, they know 70% of the people are going to fail. It's a numbers game. What they'll usually do is they'll look and see if they have stock in inventory, sell you what they have in inventory. If they don't, then what they'll do is maybe they'll do the trade and hold on to it, you know, instead of going out there and executing somebody out there on the street. So let me kind of interpret that a little bit more. I did a trade yesterday with my CyberTrain account, okay, and this is an example. Bought 1,000 shares of Fairway, and I just want to show you what happened here. Everybody can see my pointer okay? Everybody see the pointer? Just want to make a double check? Okay, good. All right, so if you see my pointer, you could see that the time I placed the order. It was 11:27, okay? And I bought 1,000 shares of the stock. Now, look what happened. They sent me an email at 11:29, and not only that, but now I'm getting all these partial tickets, 100 shares. Doesn't tell me who I bought it from, right? I mean, if you're telling your brokerage firm to buy stock, don't they have to buy it from somebody? Who am I buying it from? You ever thought about it? Well, probably you're just buying it from them. They're just taking the bet, thinking that Fausto Pugliese is going to lose money, okay? So, and not only that, but they gave me an execution 2 minutes later. 2 minutes. I get an email confirmation of that trade, okay? Now, look right here. Disregard this, all right? You see this right here, ladies and gentlemen? This is called time and sales. The order went out at 11:27. I got executed through time and sales. This is the data directly through NASDAQ. It said 11:29. Now, think about this for a second. How many races would you win in high school if you gave somebody a 2-minute head start? How many? If we gave everybody a 2-minute head start, how many races we would have won? Mark is hitting it right. 0, Karen, right? None. Right, Paul? Okay, so the thing is, if I could always be 2 minutes ahead of all of you guys, that sounds like a pretty good deal. I mean, let's go back and use common sense. Can anybody tell me how CyberTrain makes money on $6 a ticket, $7 a ticket, whatever they charge? How do they make money at $7 a ticket when the average trader account only does 2 trades a year? How do you guys think they make money? Average trader on CyberTrain does 2 trades a year, and they only charge $7 a ticket. How do they make money? Well, I don't want to say that, Mark, but come on, some of you guys have to have a reason. Nobody knows. So meanwhile, we all have accounts with Schwab and CyberTrain, and you have no idea. That's right. That's right. They blank you on the trades they do for you. Okay, let's just put that and say that. Okay, John. They front run your stock. Well, let me show you in more detail. I'm going to tell you the real secret behind how online brokers make money on your order. This is how an order gets executed. All right. Here's your order. You send an email to your brokerage firm. What they're going to do is they're going to sell it for something called payment for order flow, which means they'll sell it to another brokerage firm. If they don't, it goes through their market makers. From there, it goes to an order routing system. They're going to check if they have stock and inventory. By the way, do you guys know what that means, stock and inventory? It's called dark pools. Ever heard of dark pools before? Anybody heard of a dark pool? Okay, well, there's your definition of a dark pool. Stock they have in inventory. If they don't have stock and inventory, then it goes to the trading desk. The trading desk, that's where I used to work. Okay, they're going to try to buy it on the bid. Once they buy it on the bid, they're going to sell it to you on the offer, make the difference of the spread, charge you a commission, your order gets executed. Okay? So when you do the math and you stop figuring out, that takes a long time to run that order. Well, there's your 2 minutes. Okay? And maybe even longer than that sometimes. So you understand the power of how brokerage firms make money? Okay? Now, if you, and listen, they're not bad people, okay? It's just business, okay? It's just business. Do you know what, anyone here know the definition of business? Anybody know the definition of business? Well, some of you have it right. Making money. Exactly. Well, no, not cheating, Peter. Okay, the definition is making money. Always remember that. All right. So if they're in the business of making money, it's not like they're trying to rip you off. They just want to make money, just like you. There's nothing wrong with it. It's the American dream. All right. That's why we're here. So, but the difference, most of us don't know how they make money, and that is the real truth. Now, remember, no online broker is going to come out and tell you that. You know, and they don't have to. They actually do. Actually, I take that back. Let me reiterate that a little bit. If you read the back of your account statements, this is what they report. They tell you. Write this down. You guys want to have a little fun? Want to have a little fun? Call your brokerage firm. Okay? Actually, you know what? This is pretty cool. I'm going to do this. I'm going to call my brokerage firm. Actually, next time I do an event, I'm going to record it. I'm going to call them up. We're going to call the brokerage firm, and we're going to ask them, what's this thing on the back of the account statement? What does payment for order flow means? And I guarantee you we'll be on the phone for about 20 minutes, and nobody will be able to answer that question. But that is about 80% of their profit, 70, 80% of their profit. But sure enough, they'll constantly go out there and advertise cheap tickets, because if they could sell you on the cheap ticket, then they make money on the back end, which is not what we want to do. So when it comes to trading the market, you know, there are a lot of brokerage firms out there, and you got to know the difference between order takers and order makers. Now, before I talk about this, is there any questions about the online brokers? Rick says making money on someone else's expense. Well, Rick, and listen, this is why we're all here, right, Rick? Isn't this why we're here? Because, you know, how many of you here are too overqualified to go back to work? Or, you know, sick and tired of running a business and dealing with employees all day, and dealing with the government constantly chasing you down with unemployment and fines and this, that. You could actually be your own boss without, you could wake up in your pajamas and do this from home. So, but, you know, everybody here, I assume, has an IRA, has some form of investment in the stock market, right? If it's something, or if it's futures or Forex, okay? So why isn't Fidelity on that list? Fidelity is on that list. There's a lot of them on that list. If they classify themselves as online brokers, this is what they do, okay? Now, if you're sick and tired of dealing with that, well, that's why I assume a lot of you are here. Well, now let's understand what are market makers, and let's understand how to trade our own money and do it right, okay? Well, first of all, you have to understand there's these market makers out there. Market makers are brokerage firms. And, you know, there's companies like Schwab, Knight, E-Trade. These are four-letter abbreviations. And, you know, as, you know, here at CyberTrain University, what we try to teach you is we also want you to understand the differences between brokerage firms that are actually trying to make money with the stock, and there are brokerage firms out there that are just filling in orders. So we have order takers and we have order makers. Okay? So one thing, if you don't know the difference, I just want you to understand something. You're trading blind in the market. I want to ask everyone, I'm going to ask everybody a very simple question. I'm going to have a little pop quiz. Okay? How do the markets go up and down? What drives a stock to go up and down? Can anybody answer that? Everyone should be able to answer that. I mean, there's almost 300 people in here. Everybody should be able to answer that. Supply and demand, right? Everybody write just S&D. Can everybody just write S&D? I want you guys to keep that in mind. S&D. Everyone should write that down. Bill, come on, don't be shy. Mike, John, come on. Don't think I'm not watching you. All right, good. S&D, right? Okay. So this is where I learned my most valuable lesson as a professional trader. When I stepped in that trading room for the first time, you know, my mentor back there was Frank Ferrari. He taught me, and I'll never forget this. He goes, Fausto, could I ask you a question? He goes, do you like trading? He goes, yeah. He goes, no, do you like it? He goes, I love to trade. I think it's the greatest job in the world. He goes, great. Okay, because that's the first thing I need to know. If you love to trade and this is what you want to do. The next thing is, who is Fausto Pugliese? I'm just an ordinary guy. And he's like, exactly. And always remember that you're just an ordinary guy that cannot control the market. Fausto Pugliese could never manipulate, control, direct. You know, his 1,000 shares can't move a stock. But a guy like Goldman Sachs, that we call the godfather of Wall Street, you know, that 70% of all their salary is all their revenues is driven by trading the market. Why not, why not follow him? I mean, if I had an opportunity to follow Goldman Sachs or Fausto Pugliese, what would you follow? I mean, obviously Goldman Sachs, right? He says, well, are you doing it now? I'm like, no. So his question is, well, how you make money? He goes, I don't know. I watch CNBC. I watch my technical indicators. He says, Fausto, throw all that out the door. Okay? He says, you're not an analyst. All right? Everything gets driven up on the question I just mentioned, all of you, supply and demand. And there's no better person that can control supply and demand than the market makers. So the thing is, when you look, now we're going to look at something that's called level 2. All right? And in this level 2 screen, this is what my mentor showed me. He says, listen, what do you think you see here? Okay? Well, I'll reiterate and I'll educate all of you guys right now. These are buyers. These are sellers. This is the bid. This is the ask. Okay? These are brokerage firms. That's in column 1. Column 2 is the price they're looking to buy the stock. And column 3 is the amount of shares they're looking to buy. Okay? So you got 3 very important columns. You see the buyers, you see the sellers. Okay? So if Fausto Pugliese or if Paul or Robert or Guy, if you guys can't control the market, and you can't post your name out there, well, why not look and see what the other guys are doing that can control the market, okay? And that's where they showed me, guys like, hold on, I'm just getting my pointer right here. Guys like Archipelago, NASDAQ, TD Waterhouse, Smith Barney, Morgan Stanley, USB Bank, Candace Fitzgerald, Goldman Sachs. These are all brokerage firms. But, and then my question is, he's like, well, which I know the next question everybody's going to be saying, well, how do you know who to follow? Well, that's where the education is. But he goes, I like your train of thought. See, now you're thinking like a trader. See, I just gave you a little sample of now you're seeing what's called the data. You're seeing the market makers. You're seeing their price. You're seeing the amount of shares. Now the next question is, how do you know who to follow? Okay, which we're going to talk about next. But before we do that, does anyone have questions about level 2? Anybody have any questions about it? What we're looking at right here. Hope I'm not jumping around, and I only have less than 30 minutes, so I'm trying to go through this as smoothly and understandable as possible. Question is, how do you get level 2? Okay, we didn't get there yet. All right, we're going to get there. Where do you get this data from? Same thing. We didn't get there yet. Okay, but I could, as in which one? But I could tell you this: every brokerage firm offers level 2 quotes. You just have to ask. Okay, understand something. Why wouldn't a brokerage firm tell you about it? Well, remember, the more they tell you, the more they expose themselves. Do you think they really want to expose themselves and tell you what they're doing? No, they don't. But the beauty of it, how many of you ever heard of upgrades and downgrades? Ever heard of upgrades and downgrades? You hear Morgan Stanley upgrading a stock, right? Well, if Morgan Stanley's upgrading a stock, wouldn't you think that Morgan Stanley would be bidding for the stock and be up here on top? I mean, these are the power of understanding the data of what they're actually doing. Remember, they're being exposed. How many of you are seeing their exposure? Not many. All right, so let's change the slide here, ladies and gentlemen. And the key about this whole thing is this. What we teach you here at CyberTrain University is we teach you basically not only, which most people, first thing they learn is knowing support and resistance levels, but seeing who the buyer is and seeing and getting confirmation if that seller is there also. You understand? Because it's these big block buyers with these big orders that control the market. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? Question right here. The same brokerage firm is buying and selling on the public market. Why? Well, let me ask you something. When you go out there and buy a stock, aren't you a seller? Anyone here own a house? I just bought a house, okay? All right, I spent a ton of money on buying a brand new house, all right? Now, am I a seller? Of course I am. That's business, right? I know I want to uproot my kids and stuff, but hey, you know what? Money's money. Someone's willing to pay me double what I paid. That's no problem. I'll just build another one, right? So the thing is, market makers are always on both sides. They're always limited and ready to buy and ready to sell. It's also known, which you're probably familiar with, the word called program trading. Now, let's get to talking about the next most important data, okay, is that there are online brokers and there are direct access brokers, okay? So what we've been talking about online brokers. Now, understand that, does anyone here, just out of curiosity, does anyone here have a direct access broker? Anybody here have a direct access? Direct access means you drive the car. You have a seat on the exchange. You could place bids and offers out there. You could buy and sell, at a specific price. That's what that means. Not getting a lot of yeses. Al says yes. Mark says yes. Jim says yes. Philip says, how is that? What is Schwab? It's questions I'm getting from Fred. Alex, you got TradeStation. Good. Okay. Not a lot of yeses. Not a lot of yeses. I think only about maybe 5% of you said yes. All right. Well, now hopefully you're realizing why 70% of the people failed. Okay. Understand something. Can anybody here, and I use a lot of metaphors, but I'm going to use this metaphor. It's the easiest way of explaining it. Can anybody run a family not owning a car or a driver's license and just deal with public transportation all day? I mean, could you imagine your wife being pregnant and you being cheap and says, I don't want to buy a car because it's too expensive, and then imagine telling your pregnant wife, yeah, I'm waiting for the taxi to pick us up, or we're waiting for the local bus to come right around? Not a good situation, right? Now, unless you live in Manhattan in the city, you really don't need a car, right? But here you are living in the suburbs, we all know we need a car, right? No matter what the cost is, no matter what the price of gasoline is, we've been there, we've done that, we worked around it, okay, with experience. But the thing is, a lot of you are not driving your own car. And that's the difference between online brokers and direct access. Direct access is instant access to the market. It's like driving your own car. When you deal with online brokers, you deal with public transportation. It's cheaper, but you got to deal with the rest of the world out there, and all they care about is making a profit. So that, ladies and gentlemen, which leads us to level 2, which is where we get to see the buyers and sellers. But there's a problem. There's something that level 2 does not tell you. And level 2 does not show you all the market makers' orders. Now, I'm getting a couple of people here, and I'm not ignoring you, but I get some people tell you, well, how do you know if they're really telling you the truth? How do you know they don't have more orders out there? Well, have any of you ever heard of level 3 before? Yes, Mohammed, this is being recorded, and it will be emailed to you. Anyone heard of level 3? Total view. Anyone heard of total view? It's funny, everyone I'm getting a yes is a student. Peter, you never did? Peter said, I saw it. I like Dennis's question. I hear that all the time. I heard of it. It's like a unicorn. I heard of it, but I never really saw one. Okay? You know, so a lot of no's. Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to teach you guys what level 3 is. Now listen to me carefully, because what I'm about to tell you right now is what changed everything. And if this can't convince you about taking matters in your own hands, then I recommend you to go back to your day job, all right, and get out of the trading business. Level 3 is going to show you and tell you exactly where all the orders are. Have any of you guys ever heard of high-frequency trades? High-frequency trades control 70% of the volume, okay? Now, if I was able to tell you where 70% of the volume is, what's that worth to you? What's that worth if you were able to see 70% of the volume? John says everything. Mike says priceless. Carson says a lot. Dennis says a lot. Okay. Peter says I will know the direction. That's a good one. Alex says I'll get better entry. All right, good. So a lot of good feedback. All right, good. Well, I'm going to tell you what it is, and now we're going to and you'll understand why these stocks go up and down the way they do. Okay? So level 3 basically is going to show you all the orders that are out there. You have to understand something. Goldman Sachs is probably a buyer of 1,000 shares of ISNS at, like, let's just say $2.60. You know, but he might be. He'll also be a 10,000 share buyer, you know, at $1.97. Okay. Now, regardless of what the price is, irrelevant. I just want you to understand that there's something called program trading, and there are orders to be bought at all different prices. Okay, you're a buyer of a house. Remember, this is business. Okay, anybody own a business? Anybody here own a business, own a store or anything? Okay, or we're shopping. Let's say anyone goes shopping at a supermarket, right? Okay, we're going to buy a pound of ham. Okay, a pound of ham costs, let's say, $7 a pound. All right. Now, realistically, you know, you go in there, you know you need a pound of ham, you're going to buy it $7 a pound, right? But this week, they're running it on sale. It's $2 a pound, okay? You're still a buyer at $7, but how many more pounds would you buy at $2? You understand? So you're always a buyer. You understand? And you'll be that much more. You'll probably buy 10 pounds, okay? But maybe you're not. Says, you know what? I don't care. It's $2. I'm not really interested in ham. You know, I really like turkey, but because I need it, I'll pay the $7. But because you traded all day as a business, you'll be multiple buyers at different prices. Okay. Richard said I used to be in a real estate broker. Okay, so Rich, and by the way, Rich, I teach a lot of real estate brokers this is a great job as a real estate broker, because with the time that you have and the liquidity you have, trading is definitely right up your alley. So just wanted you to get kind of, and if there's any real estate brokers out there, just want to let you know it's a great, great business to be in, because it's almost similar. So anyway, getting back to it, you get to see all the orders. So let me show you a little bit more in detail. Okay. Okay. Basically, what level 3 tells you, it gives you all the big block orders. Okay, and it's the big block orders that control the market. So this will provide you the idea as which way the market will go ahead. You'll know exactly where the buyers are. You know exactly where the sellers are. This is where you see the big block orders. So I think we answered this question before. How do stocks go up and go down? We all said supply and demand. All right. So how do we follow supply and demand? We follow the money. And how we follow the money? We look for those big orders on level 3. So let me give you an example. Does everyone here know how to read a chart? Anybody here know how to read a chart? Read a chart. I think that's the first thing people learn when it comes to trading. Okay. So everybody ready to have some fun? Let's see how good let's see how knowledgeable everybody is about the stock market, okay? Or trading in general. If it's futures, Forex, this is all the same. Okay. So we're looking at this chart right here, okay? Now, can anybody tell me, what do you think the price of the stock's going to do? Is it going to go up? Or is it going to continue to go down? What do you guys think? Up or down? All right, now, just so I want to kind of answer Gary's question, because you know what? I know, Gary, your question is probably one of the most popular questions I get every time we get to this point. Gary's question is, don't they trade level? Do they trade levels? Don't they? There are so many ways for them to hide their orders. Well, can I ask you a question? If you think you're dealing in a business where there's a bunch of thieves and people hiding their orders, why are you in the trading business? Why are you in the stock market? Why would you want to be in a business where there's liars and thieves and people stealing all day? Do you want to be in that business? Does anybody want to be in that business? Because you know they're better than you, right? Why would you want to be in that business? Okay? Well, you want to be in this business because you hear there's a lot of money to be made in it. But if you really feel that way, well, guess what? That data that you're asking for is available to you. That's why you're here. This is what I'm teaching. Okay? So these people are being exposed. You got to remember, they have something called program trading. And when program trading kicks in, you think they sit there and there's one guy out there, they did that, and controls the market. They did that before. Ever heard of the flash crash? The big fat finger that kicked in and crashed the market 1,000 points? Didn't go too well for that brokerage firm, just to let you know. So there's so many stocks. There's 25,000 stocks that trade in the market at a given moment. You think you think that one trader is monitoring all 25,000 stocks? There's a lot of program trading comes in. There's a lot of algorithms that come in, okay? So the thing is, if you really want to know the real truth behind how they do and hide those orders, that's why we're here. My main goal here is to kind of to educate all of you that the data that you guys are asking is available, okay? And that's what you have to look at. The data is there, and the data is, basically you could see these orders. So before we understand that data, let's go back where 70% of the people fail. 70% of the people fail by looking at a chart, okay? Because they look at a chart to tell them where the stock is going, and that's actually reading backwards. Do you know 80% of the people read charts backwards? Okay, so I know a lot of you guys spend a lot of money reading charts. Yes, and I'll prove it to you. Okay, so everyone wrote their answer, right? Up or down. All right, so let's change the slide right here. So there's the resistance levels there. The stock came down, and now it's getting close to resistance. Maybe even broke it out, right? Well, what controls a chart? Let me ask you this. We have a lot of chart readers out there, right? What controls the chart? How does a chart go up and down? How does a chart go up and down for all the chart readers? Price, okay. Channels? No. Buy and selling, right? Okay, do you see buyers and sellers on a chart? Do you see prices on a chart? So how do you know it's going to go up or down? I don't see any buyers and sellers out there. How do I know that? How do I really know that that the stock is going to break out at resistance levels back at 280, 297, whatever it is? How do we really know? I mean, stocks break support and resistance levels all the time, don't they? Right? Well, guess what? A chart doesn't tell you that. You know what tells you that? The guy that's looking to buy 75,000 shares, okay, versus 2,000 share seller. You see the buy order out there? See the sell orders? Do you think about it? Would you want to be on the opposite side of that 75,000 share buyer? Would you? I don't think I want to be on the sell side. I think I would be on the buy side. All right? So when you probably thought that that was the resistance levels, which by chart definition, you're absolutely right. It is a resistance levels, and it should have went down, okay? But it had nothing to do about a head and shoulder. It had nothing to do about a Fibonacci. It had nothing to do about a Bollinger Band. It had nothing to do with moving average. What it had to do about the 75,000 share buyer out there, okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, this is my question to all of you. When you do a trade, and you're sitting there and you're watching the chart and you're looking at the stock going up and down and you're watching the price, do you see that 75,000 share buyer out there? Do you? Because if you don't, you're trading blind. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is 80% of the failure rate of trading. If you can't see those big block orders out there, you're trading blind. And that is where it was a wake-up call for me. That's when I went out there and learned from my mentor and says, oh, now it makes sense. So you're telling me support and resistance levels is from buying and selling? And he's like, yeah, and I knew that. He says, but do you see the buyers and sellers out there? And I says, well, not really. You know, only way you could see it is on level 3 in total view. Question is, I have a question. Somebody came across says, don't you see that on volume? Yeah, by the time volume kicked in, it's too late. Okay? And just because he's out there doesn't mean he got executed, right? You don't know how many orders got executed. You don't know how many orders are out there. So you're trading blind. Here at CyberTrain University, we call these iceberg orders. Okay, that's what they're called. And iceberg orders are what control the market. So as much as you look at a chart and you're seeing that we have resistance levels here at $5, well, the only reason why we know it's a resistance levels at 5, I'm not going to say I'm a chart genius. The only reason why it really it's going to back off is because there's a 14,000 share seller and a 13,000 share seller, and a 200 share buyer is not going to compete because when he hits the bid, he's going to run that stock down. And when you look at time and sales and you say, wow, look at all these orders getting executed, you know, but it's only 100 shares. Well, you know what? It's a hell of a lot more than that. Okay? So it's not what the chart tells you, it's what the orders tell you. Now, to find out more about the data, to have a way to get this data, okay, ladies and gentlemen, is the way you get that is at the end of this presentation, I'll teach you guys where to find it, okay? But I don't want to tell you where to get it. The best place to first ask is ask your brokerage firm. Okay, that's who you have to ask. Okay, so that's the first place you want to go. Go to your brokerage firm and ask them about level 3. Okay, and then come back to me and tell me what they tell you. And I'll tell. Okay, and you're going to be completely disappointed what you're about to hear from your brokerage firm. And one reason why they do that is they don't want to tell you. So when it comes to trading, ladies and gentlemen, the first rule of trading is you just need to know how to follow the money. All right? Need to follow the money and need to know where these buyers and sellers are. Now, any questions about Level 2, Total View, and about online and direct access brokers? Anthony, okay, Anthony. I asked Thinkorswim about Level 2, and they have no idea. Well, Anthony, you know what? Thinkorswim is a great company. We do a lot of education with them. If you call and talk to one of our education advisors, okay, we'll connect you with the right person at Thinkorswim, because we have an exclusivity with a certain group of traders there that we'll talk to, and they'll tell you how to get it and how to utilize it towards the Thinkorswim platform. And actually, for Thinkorswim or TD Ameritrade, if you look up my name, I know there's a lot of recordings on Thinkorswim. I actually did a couple of good presentations on how to use it on the Thinkorswim on their website. Okay? Okay, good. All right, so let's talk about finding stocks. Now, everybody here says, well, Fausto, how'd you find this one? How'd you find that one? Let me explain to you everything. This is what my mentor has taught me. He says, another big mistake why people fail is they get into trades and they buy stocks just because they think they know something about the company, okay? You know what? Do you really care what you trade? I mean, what's more important to you, what you trade or making money? What's more important? What do you care about? When you go home, you think the government asks you, oh, how'd you make your money today? Oh, because you can only trade Apple? You know, making cash, right, Jacob? I like that word. That's a nice one. We're here to make, I like that. We're here to make cash, okay? We really don't care what we trade. At the end of the day, when your sweetie comes up to you and asks you, did you make money today in the market for a job that you love? Oh, yeah. I traded this stock today, BIND. Did you hear about it, honey? No clue. I heard Apple was a good trade today. Oh, forget about Apple. You had to watch BIND today. Anybody heard about BIND? How about this? Anybody heard about that stock, BIND? BIND. We're going to look at it in the next few moments, okay? And you're going to see why we traded stocks like that. Denzel said it soared today. Yeah, it sure did soar today. It was up 100%. I know Apple wasn't. I hear all this great news today about Apple, right? Apple did pretty good today, up 3%. Was no up 100%. I'll tell you that. Okay? So anyway, regardless about finding trading platforms, don't worry about the platform. Everybody's thinking, do I need a platform? You don't need a platform. Okay? Let's learn and see if we know how to trade first. Because what ends up happening, everybody wants to get the best platform, and next thing you know, they start getting very indicated related. They start adding all these indicators, and they start analyzing, and then end up being like him. All right? Anybody feel like him once in a while when you look at the computer? And they're like, I don't understand. I read this book. I read that book. This guy told me his Fibonacci's better than his MACD. And next thing you know, I'm like, at the end of the day, that you didn't do any trades. And you still can't figure out why you're not making money. Well, I'm going to teach you something called the KISS method. Keep it super simple, all right? And the simple thing that you need to do is just follow the money. Now, here at CyberTrain University, let me kind of tell you a little bit how we teach our students. I've been doing this for 20 years, okay? I love what I do. The only reason why I teach is because trading to me is a part-time job. And that's what I teach my students. After 2 years trading the market, I was already semi-retired. I was already making a high six-figure salary, okay, at 24 years old. And we all know being retired at 24 is really not the greatest thing. Not too good for a 24-year-old, I can tell you that. But what happened over the years, people asked me, hey, Fausto, could you teach me? How do you do it? I mean, I remember I was a member at the golf club, and I was playing golf with like 60, 70-year-olds, and they're like, so where's your dad? I'm like, my dad's out working. He goes, what are you doing here? Aren't you, your dad's supposed to be here playing golf with you? Anyone here play golf? You know what I'm talking about. I'm like, oh, no, I'm my own member. My dad doesn't even play golf. He doesn't even a member. And they're looking at me, and they're like, how do you afford to be in this club? Like, what do you do for a living? I said, I'm a trader. He says, isn't the market open? I was like, yeah, I made my money about 15 minutes ago. I trade I was done at 10 o'clock. And like, really? And meanwhile, and these people didn't understand. And then eventually becoming friends with them, I showed them like, hey, could you teach me how to trade? And by the way, that's how CyberTrain University was born. Okay. So anyway, by doing that, that's how I fell into love into teaching people. And, you know, and that's why I love sitting here talking, telling you guys about it, because no one realized how simple trading was until I was trained how to do it the right way. And the number one thing I was trained is that to be successful, you have to, number one, surround yourself with the best traders in the business. Okay? You have to learn from the best. Think about it. Anybody here, you know, when anybody here have children? Anybody here have kids? Okay? Anyone have sent any kids to college? Scott, you did, right? Robert? Good. What do you think the first thing they do? You think when they want to go to college, hey, Dad, I want to go to the worst school. What's the worst college out there? That's the one I want to go to. Right? Is that what they did? Is that what they told them in high school? No. No, not at all. You want to give them the best education, right? Well, that's what you're looking to do. So, and that's what I did when I went out there to learn how to trade. I surround myself with great traders. And not only do I surround myself with great traders, but I also surround myself, you know, with students that I've trained. And what we do here at CyberTrain University, the way we train our students, we not only train you, but we run a professional trading room. Now, remember what I told you, I was a 12-time champion. I beat every school in the industry, because please understand, not a lot of schools out there trade with you. Okay? They'll teach you, but they're not traders. Okay? Have any of you guys ever been in a professional trading room? Ever been around, ever seen live trading all day, watching traders trade the market? Anyone have been down on the New York Stock Exchange, seeing all the traders, what they're buying and selling, and be able to talk to them? Okay? Some of you, oh, you see me last year, Philip. Okay. So anyway, let's go out there and let me just show you what we do. Here at CyberTrain University, we run a professional trading room. All right? And basically what we do in our trading room, we trade all day, and we run an audio broadcast. The first 30 minutes before the market opens up, we do pre-market trading, and then we do, in the middle of the day, we talk about stocks, we talk about options, we talk about Forex. We have several instructors that come in, including myself, and then we do one in the afternoon. And just going to tell you some stocks that we traded today, okay? This is actually was yesterday's trades that we did. Did anybody see ARNA or HALO? Did anybody see these trades yesterday? Anybody? Nobody saw them? Okay. So let me bring up a chart. Some of you have? Good. Okay. ARNA was a stock that we traded yesterday in our trading room, and you could see from the tweet that I did. These are tweets that we do. This is morning and afternoons. All right? This is actually an afternoon one. But we traded in the morning, and I'll even bring on my Twitter page so you know I'm not blowing smoke, because I always get people that say, hey, you know what, Fausto, I see all these good-looking these PowerPoints, but let's really see what you're talking about. All right, so anyway, here's my Twitter page, and these are stocks that we traded. This is yesterday, okay? So this is the morning picks, ARNA. Does everybody see that right there? And then we traded in the afternoon. This was yesterday. And this is Halo. These are the trades that we did yesterday. All right? So let me move over. Now look at the stock ARNA. Have you guys ever been in a stock that was up literally 76% on the day? Because we traded the stock at 9 o'clock this morning, and a lot of people were done right about here when it went from 350 to 475. By the way, anyone have a calculator? What is 350 minus 475? Add that up. 350 minus 475. It's $1.25, right? Times that by 1,000 shares. How much money is that? It's $1,200, right? 1,200 You still have that calculator? Okay. 1,200 times 5 days a week times 52 weeks a year, it's about $300,000. Who doesn't want that job? Forget about it went to 6. If you just got even just got a little bit of the move, you still did pretty good. It's one of our trades that we did yesterday. This morning's big mover, BIND. Okay, this is the one we traded this morning. You can see here in the bottom tweet. And by the way, we broadcast this live in my trading room. These are stocks that we found that were moving. Now understand something. Not all of them moved, okay? But selective ones did. And BINO, you could see it as the day opened. We started trading it. You could see as the day went on, we tweeted it as we went across. Now understand something. There's two ways how we teach our students. One thing we do is everyone's in a professional trading room, but if you can't be there, we also, people access to our Twitter feed, so at least we remind them what's going on over the course of the day, and you could access the trading room on your phone live. Now look at BINO, okay, BIND at 9:30 this morning when I gave you that tweet. Look what happened here. When I did my meeting at 9 o'clock, stock went from 720, hell, went all the way to $10. But you could have just traded about 15 minutes. And if you just bought it there, you bought at 7, you sold it at 9, I don't know, $2, right? $2 and who makes $2 in 15 minutes? Who makes $2,000 in 15 minutes? Huh? Who makes $2 and who makes that much? Your son does, Jim? Well, I think Dennis, Bill Gates does better than that. Joanne made money on it. Look at that. Look at that. She said she traded it. She sold it and she made money on it. Good. So anyway, this is what we do here at CyberTrain University. Okay? And this is why I told you I was retired at 24, because if I was making $2 a day on a trade like this, which on 1,000 shares, which I know a lot of you can afford, a $7 stock, $7 on 1,000 shares is $7,000. It's not a lot of money. Okay? Even if you were able to afford half that, $3,500, do that every day, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pretty nice income. So, and if you do the math, potential income, stock moves 50 cents a day, $500 a day, 20 trading days a month. Talking about a nice six-figure salary. Who doesn't want that job? And think about it. You are your own boss. You can come and go whenever you please. You can do this anywhere in the world. You can wake up in your pajamas. Great for stay-at-home moms. You know, as much as some of you stay-at-home moms or dads, very smart guys, smart people. Why you don't have to go to work and get a job. This is a job. You got the job staring you right in the face. You're smart enough. How many of you are retired? Very successful, want to trade your own money. Why, you can't do this at home? You don't got to go anywhere. We have it down to a science. We've been doing this for 20 years. So, who here wants to learn how to do this now? Anybody here want to learn how to do it as a career? Alex, that's a great question. Okay, so you guys never have losing trades. That is totally, totally true. We do have losses, okay? The thing that you have to understand, Alex, is you need to know how to control your losses and run with your winners, okay? Now, I always tell all the people, all my students, and everybody here, I want all of you guys to come and join me and watch me for 1 week. Can anybody here come watch trading for even one of the days of the week? For 5 days, 100 hours of trading, okay? And if you can't watch it, maybe you're busy, it's recorded, you can watch it on your phone. Anybody here? Because what I want all of you guys to do is don't judge me on those winners. I want you to judge me on those losers and how few we have and how we control them. And not only that, I want you to judge me on students that I've trained and how successful they've been. And meet guys like Billy and Brett and Doug and Jared and Joseph and Lee, you know, all these traders have been around that I've trained and see how well they do. And Mike, you know, the list goes on and on and on. Traders that we've trained and see what and see and judge us not just on those winners, but judge us on those losers. Okay? So, and how to work off those lists and seeing, okay, which ones are moving and how we've trained our students to work as a team. Because let me tell you, it's not fun sitting down in the basement all day by yourself trying to analyze and try to figure out on your own. You're not going to figure it on your own. You need to work with a team. This is a team effort. But most importantly, to have a team effort, you need to have that mentor. Every single one of you, and I mean it, ladies and gentlemen, every one of you should always say, I was trained by XYZ, okay? And what I would like, I want everyone you to say, oh yeah, I was trained by Fausto at CyberTrain University, okay? And you could be trained by more than one person, but every one of you need a mentor. And I'm going to shoot straight to the hip. I tell people this all the time. I'm from New York. We're very straightforward. Trading is more than a 70% failure rate. It's a 90% failure rate. And the reason why most people fail is because they want to be self-taught. So can I give everybody just a little advice? If any of you guys are self-taught, do yourself a favor. It's a lot cheaper to get trained than to lose money, because if you think education's expensive, try ignorance. You would not give your money to anyone to trade your money who never learned how to trade the market. So what makes you any different? So that's why every single one of you need a mentor, okay? And if it's not me, get somebody else. But just make sure if you are going to get somebody, and listen, we recommend a lot of schools at CyberTrain University. You know, maybe you don't like the way I talk, maybe I'm not your style, but we do recommend a lot of the schools, but I want everybody to realize you need a mentor, okay? And I think I am that mentor, because here at CyberTrain University, we do education for more brokerage firms than any school in the industry. And our reputation speaks for ourselves. Now, listen, I've trained hundreds of thousands of people. I can't impress everyone. You know, I'll tell you a funny story. I had a student come up to me, and he goes, you know, Fausto, I read something really bad about you on the internet. Somebody didn't like your class and this and that. I'm like, I mean, listen, I can't impress everybody. I go, how many did you find? You know, there was like 2 people. I'm like, 2 people? You found 2 people? 3 people? 3 people? I said, I trained hundreds of thousands of people. I said, you only found 3. I'm like, wow, that's pretty damn good. You know, I could be the best president in the world. Obviously, you can't impress everybody, right? So the thing is this. I can't impress everybody, you know, and I can't make everyone successful. But I promise you I will do the best job that I can, all right? So when it comes to trading, and if you want to become a better trader and you want to start learning today, this is what I'm offering everyone. For $48, okay, I'm going to offer all of you a 1 week of my professional trading room. You're going to get 4 on-demand videos that's going to talk about how to trade the market. You're also going to be getting our live broadcasts in the morning and afternoon hours. And most importantly about this whole thing, it's guaranteed. Let me explain something to you. If I can't impress you, you call us up, I'll give you money back. That is how convinced. Okay, I'm giving you 100% guaranteed satisfaction that if I can't show you stocks up 20% a day, just call me up and say, Fausto, you know what? I didn't really see that you make money. I didn't see any. No problem. I'll give you money back. I'm not going to argue with you. Okay? But the $48 realistically is to pay for the webinar technology, because it does cost us a lot of money to have every one of you to pay for technology. So all I'm asking is paying for my technology fee, because you know what? There's over 300 people here. If we had to pay $300, we had to pay $50 times 300 people. So over 15,000. So I just want you guys to pay for the software. And if you're not happy, we'll give you money back, okay? But what you're going to learn in this room is you're going to register today. And when you register today, you're going to get access to the room immediately today. And in that room, You're going to get all the videos. You're going to get some training, and most importantly, you're going to be introduced to a bunch of students that we've trained for that week. And also, you're going to have access to an education advisor, and he's going to be able to answer your questions in great detail. All right, and top it all, you're going to also have access to an instructor that will be able to answer some of your questions for you. So that sounds like a pretty good deal. Now, how do you register? That's like the question people are asking. Okay, the way you register is this. You can call us at CyberTrain University at 877-70-CYBER, or the best way to do it is go visit our website right now, right on the home page, click Enroll Today on that banner, and fill this out, and we'll get you registered immediately, okay? And I'll put this in the chat box so you have it. You should be able to see it in the chat room. So you're getting a lot of great. And the question is, somebody just told me, if I can't make it, can I postpone it? Yes, you can. Talk to education advisor, and if you want to move it for a week or so, let them know, and they'll take care of it. How long are the videos? The videos are run for about an hour each. Okay. Any other questions? And the video is what are the videos? Well, one of the videos you're going to be getting is going to teach you how to pre-market trade. Now, before we go, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to stick around for about 5 minutes and answer some questions. I just want to kind of let everybody know that, listen, just remember, I always recommend every single one of you need education. And you're not going to learn to trade on YouTube. You're not going to learn taking a free webinar. Every one of you need a mentor. And what we're offering right here is I want you to come and try us for a week and see what it's like to see trades that we've traded. Think about it. If any one of you bought that stock, BIND, we wouldn't even think twice of moving forward CyberTrain University. So the thing is, go out there, sample it, see if you like it, know about CyberTrain University, talk to the students that are in there, and you'll see that trading, the only thing you're going to wish you could have found this, when you first started. A couple of questions coming across here. So what time do you disclose the stocks and traded? Alex, we do it at 9 o'clock. The room is open up at 8:30 Eastern Time, an hour before the market opens up. We do the live broadcast at 9 a.m. Where can we get level 3 quotes? Okay, you can get it from your broker, and the best thing to do is call here, talk to an education advisor, and because they will tell you, depending on who your broker is, who to ask and what platform. A lot of these brokerage firms offer a lot of different types of accounts. So, depending on who your broker's for, they'll tell you which one it is. Is there a fee to trade on your platform? Stanley, we're not a brokerage firm. We don't offer software. We don't do anything. Okay? All we teach is education. We show no favoritism. We have no exclusivity with brokerage firms, which is what you want. You don't want anyone to have exclusivity. But when you become a student at CyberTrain University, we'll walk you through it, step by step. What kind of rate are after the trial for the week, Mary? Well, there is no fee. You're not going to get billed after the event. This is not like, buy 49 and we're going to hit you for 4,000. If you want to move forward with CyberTrain University, you can, Mary. To run the Cyber Group room is $300 a month. If you don't think it's worth it, no big deal. You know what? But if you paid $300, if I showed you a stock like BIND and you made $2,000 today, $300, is not a bad deal for a whole month. So. But you know what? You make the judge of it after you do the trial. Does the promotion code apply? Yes, the promotion code has already been applied. Once you register for it, for the event, for the $48, you're going to get the promotion for it. How do you scan the stocks in the morning? Well, that's what we're going to show you tomorrow morning. And actually, we're going to show you how to scan them at 2:30 today. So when you register and you get in there in that webinar and in that live our trading room, we'll show you how to scan. Yes, Stanley, we do also talk about options. We actually did our options already at 12 o'clock, but we do it every day at 12. Wolf has a good question. How are we going to trade then if we're not with a broker? Well, Wolf, the whole point is, I really don't want you to trade. I want you to observe. I want you to observe and see what kind of trading, if it's for you or not. And the whole goal is when you're in the trading room and you start seeing what people are buying and selling and seeing if you can comprehend what's going on, then then you talk to your education advisor at CyberTrain University, and they'll advise you, what broker would be more suitable for you. I trade futures, and can I fulfill with your exchange? Yes, you can, Peter. And we actually do an event on that. Register at CyberTrain University. When you register on our site, you'll be able to register for all the other upcoming exchange events, and we'll educate you about that also. Jeff, you do not need a brokerage firm for your one-week trial. Where's the best source for the top trainer, gainers, and losers? Louis, when you register for the event, when you register for the $49, we'll have the top 20 gainers and listers there for you. So you don't have to spend any money or need it. We have it for you. So it's part of the package. Thomas, yes, I do trade options. Absolutely. I love options better than swing trading. I like to lease than to own. Danny says, what's the cost of the trial? Right there, it's $49. $48 for a whole week. And that actually, it's only for today. That's a one-day promotion. After today, it goes up to $297. I think I answered that question already. One of the questions is the $49 a one-time fee, or is there an auto enroll thereafter? No, there's no auto renewal. It expires after the week's trial. If you want to move forward, talk to your education advisor and let them know if you want to move forward. We don't do that here at CyberTrain University. We do options daily. Actually, Tom, we also teach how to day trade options. So it's something that, but you got to know how to play the game first. And you know what about options, everybody? Everybody wants to learn how to trade options. Got to be honest with you. You got to learn how to trade stocks first before you trade the option, because the movement of the option, the stock that makes the option move. Okay? Any other questions? Is this good for a complete beginner, Ben? Absolutely. We train you as a beginner, and honestly, we think everyone's beginners. I thought, listen, Ben, I was a stockbroker, and I thought I was an advanced trader. I'm like, I'm not taking a beginner course, and I lost miserably. When you're in our cyber group room and you're in our training courses, you'll see we teach hedge fund managers. These guys, they really think that they know how to trade. They don't. So I don't care how advanced you think you are or how good you are. Great traders never stop learning. Thank you very much, Tom, for coming. Mary, you have registered? Well, Mary, listen, I look forward to seeing you in there. And I appreciate it. And let me tell you, you're going to be shocked at the things you're about to see. All right, guys. So listen, I got to go. I'm sorry we went a little bit more beyond of the hours, but the time. But I got to catch up on a meeting and get ready for my afternoon meeting. It's going to go in 2:30. So for everyone who purchased the Cyber Group promo, we're going to be doing another live audio broadcast at 2:30 in the room. We're going to talk about stocks when trading in the afternoon. And the great thing that I want you guys to observe is you're going to be watching an execution system running. You're going to be watching stocks that we're trading. You're going to be seeing how we get in and out of it. Sit back and observe, and most importantly, make sure you talk to your education advisor at CyberTrain University so he can tell you all the great benefits that you're going to be getting with your promo. And for the ones that are not going to register or maybe just looking around, listen, first of all, I'd like to thank you guys for the opportunity of being here, and I just want to leave you all off with one very important tool. If you want to learn, if you want to trade the market, you got to learn before you can earn. And, I always recommend everyone start off small with an education advisor, buy something small, see if you understand what they're talking about, see if it's your type of style of trading, and if it is, then learn how to move forward, because the cheapest trade you're going to make is the one that's going to teach you how to do it right. So for that said, everyone, thank you, and everyone from CyberTrain University appreciates you being here. Look forward to seeing you for the upcoming events. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.